Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. Again, for those of you that may or may not know me, my name is Deja, and I am a publicist. So what I do is I help mission-focused brands get featured in the press to highlight their work and show and position themselves as the thought leaders that they already are. Hey, Lauren. So today we're going to talk about 3 ways to keep your brand in the public eye. So the key to successfully marketing your brand is to maintain visibility. So have you ever heard of the saying, out of sight, out of mind? If people don't remember you, you're going to have a harder time marketing your brand. So today we're going to learn 3 ways to make sure your brand stays on top of people's mind. So the first way is to get influencers on your side. So while most people only think of influencers as people that have like a huge like following, I'm talking about like 100K or more, I actually encourage you all to think about micro influencers as well. So these are typically people that are under 100K in followers, but they typically tend to have the best engagement. So you want to look at their comments to get a feel for the type of engagement that they have. So there are literally influencers in every industry. So these people could be bloggers, vloggers or YouTubers, podcasters, etc. There are literally influencers in every industry. So no matter what type of business or brand you have, you can find someone that will fit what your goals are essentially. So some of these influencers charge a course. You may be able to send a product or a sample and they might feature you for free. I also encourage you guys to look at like those like curated communities, so like Girl Boss, or I'm trying to think of some there's like a Black Boss Academy, I believe was one I seen recently, but there are tons of different like influencer pages. Some people charge, some people don't. A lot of times they're not super expensive depending on like how many followers and things like that and like what type of package you want. But definitely I encourage you to consider influencers. So number 2, you want to build an online community. So get active on social media. So if you are new to social media or social media just overwhelms you, which I totally understand, just start with one platform. So personally for me, I am a fan of repurposing my content. So I'm telling y'all one of my secrets, but I'm a fan of repurposing my content. So you should always find like what your main thing is. So for me, my favorite thing is video, if you haven't noticed. So I use video, and then from my video, I will turn it into a blog post, or I'll turn it into like content, a social media post, or I will turn it into like a podcast. Like I'm really big on just like repurposing my content and making it work for me, because I'm not trying to be doing new content multiple times. So video is like my main one, kind of like the Gary Vee method of things. Like, you notice he does video and then he has his team turn into micro content or a blog post and things like that. So that is like the model that I have started to adapt in my business, and it makes life just so much easier. So just also make sure that you are building up your email list. So you should definitely have a website as well to build your online community, because again, we don't own any of these platforms. So social media, Instagram can be shut down, which it happens so often. There's always some type of glitch. Facebook, I know people that have like been like shadow banned on Facebook. So it's so many things that can happen on social media that you don't have control over. So it's best to just make sure that you have your own email list. Yes, facts. Have your own email list, and definitely have your own website, because you don't want to put all your eggs on one basket. Email is also important too, because it's like building a waiting list for people to work with you. So think about like what freebies you want, or something is called an opt-in, but think about what you can use to attract people to sign up for your email list. Think about what type of content. Like I know for me also, with my video content, I also turn that into an email too. So like y'all, I'm not about to be doing the most over here. Like literally video is like my overarching content theme type, and then I go into repurposing it. So that's what works for me. You can also like outsource your content if you don't feel like doing it, or you don't think you're creative enough or whatever. But I would just encourage you to like try to do it yourself for a little bit, so when you do decide that you want to outsource, you can at least like tell people like what you're looking for and all that good stuff. And then just encourage your community to share. Like I always tell you guys, or ask you, I don't tell you, but ask you guys like, oh, can you reshare this? Like, sharing is caring. Also thinking about like creating content that makes people want to share is good too. And then also just engage with your followers. Like, go on your stories if you're comfortable. Like, ask people questions. Like, I try to do like question and answer days and things like that, because you don't always want to be just asking people to buy something or whatever. You just want to engage with people and know that you're sincere and what your efforts are, I would say. So then the third thing is, of course, my favorite, getting featured in the media. So, of course, this is where I come in as a publicist. You should be leveraging press. So you should be pitching the press to increase your credibility and thought leadership. You can pitch your brand to blogs, podcasts, YouTube channels, news outlets, magazines. And as a business owner, you should be speaking about your proven product or expertise. So I know some of you are like, well, what is PR good for? It's good for credibility and thought leadership. But if you're interested in, like, say if you have a product or something, you definitely should be in holiday gift guides. I do have a class on holiday gift guides. If you're interested in that, you can definitely just click the link in my bio or look in the description box, depending on where you're watching this, and sign up for the classes at the end of this month. If you can't make it live, of course, there will be a replay. But definitely, I want to mention, like, because it's holiday gift guide season, like this is, well, I'll say this, gift guides are all year, but this is like the biggest time for gift guides, like the most volume, I'll say. So if that's something you're interested in, and like in terms of like pushing your sales, and you have a product, gift guides are for you. But you can also, in addition to that, if you don't have like a product or service, a product, excuse me, you can also write a press release, and you can pay to have it distributed to a network of media outlets. So this also helps with your SEO, but it should only be for like really big things. I always tell my clients, so like big things such as like collaborations, like major collaborations, product launches, events. You can get a feel for, like, look at some of like the bigger brands and see what they're writing press releases on, so you can get an idea of what you should be including in your press releases, because you don't want to get like too press release happy when you don't really need one. You might just need like an email pitch to pitch your story idea, but that's like a whole nother lot. But okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and recap. So I talked about 3 different ways to keep your brand in the public eye. So 1, using influencers. 2, building an online community. And 3, getting featured in the media. So does anybody have any questions? And then I'm checking too to see if I had any comments, which I don't think I did on Facebook or Periscope. But thank you guys for tuning in again. I don't know what was going on with technology for me today, but it is okay. I got through it. Does anybody have any questions, concerns? All right, well, if there's nothing, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me. Okay. How do you select the right influencer? So I would say you have to look at a few things. I would look at, 1, what are your brand values? No, it's okay. Nope, it's fine. So you got to look at your brand values, because you don't want to select someone that's not in alignment. Okay, questions, come with them. So you don't want to pick someone that is not in alignment with your values. So like, say for instance, you're like an eco-friendly brand. You wouldn't work with an influencer that like uses products that are not eco-friendly, or they're like, or they big on like leather. Like, say you're like, okay, like I'm vegan, like we use vegan leather. You don't want to work with someone that is like wearing like minks and stuff. Like that might be a part of your brand values, blah blah blah, blah, whatever, so etc. So I would definitely say, like, make sure it aligns with your values, like who you are as your brand. So really figure out, like, is this person a reflection of my brand? Like, would people like side eye? Oh, I love these questions. Would people like side eye you if you worked with said influencer? Another thing to consider is their engagement. Look at their engagement. Like, do you want them to post on the story, or do you want them to post on the feed? Like, ask them to send those numbers over. And then the third thing I would have them do is ask them to send you over any partnerships they've done in the past. Like, what type of content? Like, you should be looking at their content. Do you like how they present their content to their viewers? If you don't like how they do it, then I would probably go with someone else. So those are 3 things that I would consider. Okay. When you pay an influencer, does it cheapen a brand or comes across? No, it doesn't. Nowadays, a lot of brands do use influencers. And by law, brands are required to disclose that information. So I think as long as you're being transparent, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just a channel of marketing. Okay. Do you feel like entrepreneurs should be pitching all year at just certain moments or when they have their ducks in a row? I feel like entrepreneurs should be pitching all year. Now, it depends on, are you talking from a perspective of, like, this person doesn't have, like, a publicist, or if they're doing it themselves? If they're doing it themselves, what I always advise, like, my, like, I have clients that I do, like, intensives with, and they just do press on their own. I always encourage them to break it down by quarter, like, what their goals are, and then I always tell them to focus on one type of outlet. So, like, whether it's going to be, like, podcasts this quarter, blogs next quarter, Instagram takeovers next quarter, like, just break it down that way. But I think they should be pitching all year. And I just feel like, yeah, like, of course, there's certain things you should have in place. Like, you should definitely have, like, at least, like, a landing page, some pictures. But I don't think they have to be, like, perfect. I feel like that is a lot of times what I've noticed, that is what will paralyze somebody from wanting to increase their visibility or presence for their brand, is because they're so focused on, like, everything being perfect. Good is better than best sometimes. Okay. Is it tacky to ask influencers to do something for free or in exchange for a service? No, I don't think so. Because, shoot, people have approached me, and if I like the product, I'll do it for free. But, like, I'm picking how I'm doing my free, though. Like, it might just be, like, in my story or something. I'm not about to be... I had a brand reach out to me, and they wanted to send me shirts, but they wanted 4 posts for a month. They wanted, like, too much stuff, and I was like, you got to pay me for that. So, I think, like, present it, and then they can counter back. But, I mean, I think it's up to the individual influencer. You're welcome. Okay, that's great advice. They typically want it all at once, but that's overall. Yeah, exactly. Like, just focus on one thing. If you're not an expert, like a PR expert, like, at least definitely hire someone. And I saw Candace Nicole talking about this on her feed today, but I totally agree. Like, if you're not an expert and you're not at a point where you're ready to hire a publicist full time, at least, like, book a session with a publicist or something so that you can know what you should be doing. Or buy some pitch templates. Like, I have pitch templates on my website. But at least do that so you're not just out here pitching and then it's, like, not, landing with people. So that's what I would say. Any other questions? Y'all just came in with these questions. I was like, oh, I was about to click off. And y'all was like, oh, wait. I love it. These are great questions.